Welcome everybody. I'm really excited to talk about this passion project. Thank you all for joining me this morning. I understand that, we're all still adjusting, and it's just really, really cool that you all came here this morning. So, the company that I am talking about today is Speck of Dust Theater Company, bringing original, local, and unique art to the Chippewa Valley. So what is Speck of Dust? So Speck of Dust Theater Company was created by Logan Toffness. It is a theater company dedicated to showcasing original works to the Chippewa Valley. It is written, directed, designed, and performed by local talents all throughout the Chippewa Valley. So essentially what that means is that we are all just local. We take people from all sorts of backgrounds and all sorts of different talents and showcase them in different venues around the Chippewa Valley. Past theatrical productions. Our first one that we did in Eau Claire was called Thieves and Bad Bad Lives, written and directed by Logan Toffness back in August 2017. It was a comedy about two kids who go rob a liquor store and end up stranded at a log cabin in the woods, and shenanigans ensue. The play we did after that in August 2018 was called A Real Super Time, a post-superhero play, which was a little bit more of like a dark comedy drama about superheroes who lost their powers and how they're coping with that. And then just this past summer, we did a murder mystery comedy written by, also superhero play was written and directed by Logan. And then I Bet It Was the Butler was written by Alex Brandt and directed by Logan. It was a murder mystery comedy about a man who is murdered in the dead of night and how we all had to who done it. It was truly everything about these productions was all original content, all designed, all acted. Everything was all people just in the Chippewa Valley. Past other performances that we do, we don't just focus on theatrical productions, but we also do festivals. One of the first festivals that Logan did, I was not a part of, but Logan did, was called at the Minnesota Fringe Festival, where she directed, not performed. Sorry, Logan, if you're listening. Electric Sun. We have done many live radio performances where we do live radio plays, which is essentially where we have usually, her name is Meg Gazella or Alex Brandt, on sound, and we do live radio shows, which is really fun. And we are planning more once, this whole pandemic thing is done. We also do improv shows. We mostly have been doing them at the venue at the Plus. And we are planning on doing more. But again, as soon as, things seem to chill out for a little while. We've also performed at Volume 1's Best Night. I don't know if any of you saw us there. We were in the coat room, stashed away. What we bring to the Chippewa Valley. So collaboration. We have worked with a lot of people that normally either didn't do theater before or didn't know exactly how they wanted to do theater before, and being able to bring that to their life and help them realize that that's maybe a passion of theirs has been really, really fun. Variety. We don't just do plays. We do radio shows, we do improv shows, we're looking to do other things too. We not only just do comedies or we only do dramas, we do it all, which is really, really fun. We're projecting also local talent. We're not just being hey, look at this guy over here. We want to be able to showcase people this person is a really good talent, and we want people to see that this person is not only this, but this. Positivity. We are, every production, every part I've been a part of this company has been nothing but positive. We've never really had a problem with anybody. We've always it's always just such a good environment. And we also put in a thing of professionalism where it's not just oh, we're just all screwing around and stuff. We all really want to work hard, and we're all really passionate about it. Another thing that we bring to the Chippewa Valley is compensation. We pay everyone. It may not be much, but we pay. So if you're in a production, if you're on the set, if we try to compensate you any way that we can for doing work, because we want this to be a professional company where we want you to know that you're valued and you are not just volunteering your time, that we want you to know that you are valued, and we want to be able to show you at least what we can give you as a way to show, like, listen, we really appreciate you. So some roadblocks that we have: marketing. So a big thing with our marketing is that we've mainly been on social media, and we do make posters and we do try to post them around town. Our main source of marketing seems to be Facebook. That's where we get a lot of the same feedback. But we do also have a YouTube channel, we have an Instagram, and we also do have our own website. So, but the thing is that we're not getting a lot of feedback on that, or we're not getting as much attention on those as we would like. We kind of are looking for like more strategies on how to market ourselves. Like, do we have to like redesign our posters? Do we have to go on other different platforms? Do we have to market our events in like different like patterns and that sort of thing? That's where our roadblock that we're seeing. Other venues, we have been eternally grateful to the Grand Theater. They have hosted all of our theatrical performances, and Anne has been amazing to work with. We at Speck of Dust absolutely love her. And we also want to thank the Maple Tainter. We recently did in January a radio play there, and they were also extremely cool, along with the Plus, who lets us use the back called the venue a lot for our improv shows and our radio plays. We really appreciate these people, a lot. And we very much just love and appreciate that they've been able to give us these venues to work with. And we also want to still keep using those, but we're also looking for other places to expand, other places to perform as well, because we want to be able to just have that variety and be more open. Like, we just went to Menominee, and I think that would not only be a good showcase to get people from Eau Claire interacting with Menominee, but vice versa, like maybe getting more people from Menominee involved in like our stuff, and maybe even eventually going to Chippewa, like finding venues there, that sort of thing. More artists. So we have a lot of, you've probably seen from the pictures, there's a lot of us that are kind of in the same productions over again. I know I've been in almost every production involved with Speck of Dust, which I like. I love doing it. And I really love all of the people that we have that do continue to come back. I think that it would be nice if we did have more people involved, like, because we do just have like these people that we just go back to because they're so reliable, they're so good to work with, and we love them so much. And it's really nice when somebody new comes in and they're like, I really like this, and then they stick around and they want to keep doing stuff with us. It's like one of the best feelings in the world that they genuinely like to work with us. It's really nice, and I'd love to have even more of that. Another thing is funding. So a big thing with that is we do like to compensate our actors, our designers, everything for all of our productions, but we would like to pay them more for what they're worth. And we do have a Patreon too, and we're just like trying to find more like grants or sponsorships or something, so that we're able to not only put on higher quality work, but able to compensate our people more than what we are already doing. Our social media links, we've got our Facebook link, here's our Instagram, our YouTube channel. We have recorded at least one performance from each of our stage plays and put them on there. We also have audio recordings of our radio plays on there as well. And then our website, which right now we really don't have anything coming up at the moment because of the pandemic, but we do have a website that showcases a lot of our pictures and everything like that. And then Facebook is our main place where we seem to announce things, same with our Instagram. But like I said, we are looking for either ways to improve on advertising goes, or different ways to do so. So upcoming events, I understand that, like I had said many times before in this presentation, that I'm absolutely to be determined due to the COVID-19 crisis, but a thing that we are still planning is a collaboration with performance anxiety. So recently, Logan and myself had acquired a nonprofit company called Performance Anxiety from David Zweers. So what this is that, and I can go into this later, but this is not about performance anxiety. It's essentially just like a nonprofit where I can go on and on about that later. But we are collaborating with them in June to do what's called a 24-hour project, which is where we get a whole bunch of people together. People sign up in advance to either act, direct, paint, write a song, and we have 24 hours to do it. And we've done it before in college, and it's really, 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 really fun and really, really rewarding and super, super cool to see what everybody can come up with in just a span of 24 hours. We have Abby Lowenstein, who ran a lot of those back in the UW Eau Claire days when we were both students there, and she is helping us organize this one. So hopefully, if things settle down, we will be doing that, which I'm really excited about. So that's pretty much it for my presentation. We have been featured, I should say, like in volume 1. We've been on the news. I kind of wanted to talk about a couple of the pictures in here. So the one in the bottom left corner is our first set from Thieves and Bad Bad Lies. This was designed by Cade Sikora. Cade is just a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous designer. And like, I just kind of wanted to showcase like the quality that we put on, like just in our set purposes. Like it's one of the most gorgeous sets I've seen. He's so wonderful, and so is Logan. And I'm so happy to be a part of this company that Logan wanted to like work with me and listens to me 95% of the time. I'm kidding, Logan. And I've been able to meet and be better friends with so many people because of this company. And I've been able to put on work that I, as like an artist, am just exceedingly proud of. I'm so proud of what we've done, and I'm really excited to see what else we can bring to the Chippewa Valley, because I think this is so good. I think that there is a very much a lacking in this community that really needs it, a place to like be able to showcase your original work and also be compensated for it. Even if it is a small amount, it's more than a lot of people get paid in other theater companies in Eau Claire. Like, I think we're the only one that compensates people, to be honest, unless somebody wants to correct me. I think we're the only one in town that does that. And we do try to maintain a professional level where we're not only trying to have that positive attitude of like, hey, we're all really passionate, we all really want to keep doing our thing, but at the same time, we want to be able, like, this is a professional thing. We want people to like work hard. We want people to keep just coming to these things. And what's just really cool is that we were able to have like on retainer some people that have just shown up and have been like, hey, I heard about you guys and I wanted to audition. And they did. And then they end up like being part of our improv team, or they keep coming back for productions. And that's, I know I've said that before, but that's just, I think, one of the most rewarding things for me about this is that I'm able to be part of something that is able to bring these people in and showcase that here's a talent that I didn't know I had, or I knew I had, but I was too afraid to showcase it. And just constantly being able to keep everybody on retainer. And it's just really nice. And I'm really, really proud of this. And I really hope that we can grow. So thank you for listening to me rant about my company for a couple of minutes. I'm really excited about this, and I'm willing to take questions now, Adam, if you're cool with it. I understand that I didn't talk for as long as I probably should have, but I wanted to give people enough time to ask me very questions about my company. So thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, great job.
Thanks.
So feel free to open up that participants tab now and hit the raise your hand button. You'll pop up one by one, and then I'll unmute you one by one to ask your questions. Logan did put in the chat that she believes that Downstage Left might have some sort of pay for their actors. So there may be one other company called Downstage Left in town that does compensate, but it is not necessarily a common thing of theater companies to compensate their actors and directors and things like that in town here. Oh. So Kristen put a question in the chat. What's with the raccoon?
So with the raccoon, so this is a very funny story. So Logan and I, we first put on Thieves and Bad Bad Lies as a players production in college that Logan wrote back in 2013. And when Cade also designed that set, his dad had this stuffed raccoon that just instantly we fell in love with. And we were like, this thing is super, like, we loved him, or loved it. It was just the cutest thing. And we were just like, oh my God. So when I moved back to Eau Claire in 2016, and I was talking to Logan about redoing Thieves because I love that play so much, we were like, hey, what if we got that raccoon back? And we just decided to make it our main marketing thing because it's just so weird that people are like, what the heck is that thing? Like, why? But I think like it was also kind of just like a unique, like, oh, that's the theater company with the raccoon. So that's with the raccoon, Kristen. Also, hey.
All right, we've got a question from Laura.
Hey Tabitha, so my question is kind of looking at the vision that both you and Logan and anybody else involved with the company have. So I'm curious what your idea is in terms of growth, if it's trying to keep one main production a year, if you guys want to keep it as your side gig, or if there's something that you want to be more involved in.
That's a really awesome question. Thank you for that. I think at the moment, we're just mainly focused on we've just started to grow a little bit more, like especially in the last 2 years. We've mainly, starting like 2016, we really were only focusing on doing one production in August, like one big theatrical production. But in the last couple of years, we started taking baby steps in doing more things, like started doing improv shows, we started doing radio plays, and we've still been keeping on doing one big theatrical production a year. But it would be really nice if we could be able to have more of what's called a season. So we're able to be like, every other month we have an improv show, every couple months, like on this day and this month, or every quarter we have a radio play, and then trying to do more theatrical productions, but we kind of need the funding for that. Right now, it's still a side gig, and we are more focused on just bringing a positive attitude and more just trying to be an outlet for people. But if we start to get more funding and it starts to like pick up on a life of its own, we would love, I'm sure Logan can speak to this too, that it would be cool if it wasn't just a side gig.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, we've got Emily here.
Good morning. Thank you, Tabitha. It's so good to see everybody today.
Hey.
So I have two questions. That one kind of piggybacks off of what you just said, is like, what's your long-term plan in terms of what you want the theater, what do you want the company to be?
Sure. Great question. Hey, Emily. Long term, we would love to just have like a consistent season. We would love to just be able to like have a structure, kind of like a lot of how the other theater companies in town have, where they're just like, we're going to be doing this at this month, this at this month, and just being able to have those resources to be able to just have more of a schedule, being more organized, and maybe even like way long term, like have our own place.
Okay. So what have you taken time to figure out like what that would look like, and like ballpark numbers about we would need if we were going to do this, if Logan and I were going to be full-time, or whatever, whoever would be involved, how much working capital you would need in order to make that happen?
No, we have not. If I'm being honest,
Yeah,
because
no,
Logan
that's
and
okay.
I, as you know, I'm an office admin at CoLab, and I love that job a lot, and I'm just really, really, really happy there. And I understand that like you got to take risks in order to do things that you're very passionate about. But I think at the moment, like it's sort of just like a very like 5 to 10 years down the line.
Yeah. So, and part of the reason why I ask is that if you know, say that in 5 years you want to be here and it's going to cost X amount of money, and even, you know, like those figures can be rough, but then, you know, if you have that in your head, then sometimes it makes some of your short-term decisions easier, because then you can constantly be saying, okay, well, this opportunity came up to do this radio show, but how does that move us closer to the 5-year goal? And this other thing came up, does that move us closer to the goal? And that can really help determine what you do in the short term to help you get to the long term.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Emily.
Yeah. Then the second question that I had is like, who is your target audience member? So have you figured out what that person looks like in terms of like their demographics and stuff like that?
Yeah. So we've talked about that. And one of our main things is that we're just really looking for people that it's not necessarily like in an age group. It's more looking for people that are really interested in more like unique work, like are more artistic and are looking for something that maybe they're not finding in Eau Claire, that they might have to go to the cities for or somewhere bigger. And we want to bring that here.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just writing it down while I'm listening.
Sure.
Perennial note taker. Okay, so then maybe it would be worth too, if you haven't done so yet, to really start to like get into the head of the person that you want to be in your seat. And so thinking about like, what kind of food do they eat, and where are they shopping, and where are they like hanging out to drink coffee or have a happy hour at night or whatever, because that can help you, especially if it's not like a specific age group, then that can help you try to figure out, you know, if as you're doing that, you look at it and say like, oh, these people aren't hanging out on Instagram, so maybe we don't have to spend all of our effort updating that, when really we need to be doing more. I don't know what that look, but that might help you to really like hone in on where you need to find people and shake them out of trees. And the other
Yeah.
thing too is within that, then start thinking about like who has resources, particularly in your case, like funding, to help you out. And then also figure out like, and maybe that's part of your other conversation too, is do you have a way that people can contribute to you, and does everybody know that? Like, can they be a member or like a supporting member? Like think of like an NPR model, think about something like that, right? Where you maybe have people who are regularly contributing on top of buying tickets in some capacity, that might help you start to gain some momentum towards more exposure and more funding and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome, Emily. Thank you. So thing on that, we kind of do that a little bit. We have a Patreon that people can regularly donate to, and we do have a couple of regular donors, which is really nice, and they're super great. A thing that I try to do is that if we have a sponsor, if we have gotten a few sponsors in the past, is we try to thank them. Like we have like a reward tier on our Patreon page where like you get like a signed script from the cast of the original production. We'll send you like a handwritten thank you letter. We'll send you like 2 free tickets to a show if you contribute this much money, that sort of thing. And if those patrons do come to the show, we do hold tickets for them, but we also hold seats for them in the front row with usually like a little gift basket and a sign, and then like a signed thank you from everybody to like just show how much we appreciate them.
Nice. There, sorry, I'm not trying to monopolize the conversation. This is what happens when extroverts are home by themselves and like don't get to talk to anyone. It's like, there's people I have to talk to. Well, like
someone else raises their hand, I'm not going to cut you off.
Okay, all right. Just as like a side note, poor Mark, he came home from work one night and I was like, I have this new business idea. And he's like, wait, what? And I was like, we're going to make frozen cupcakes and this is how it's, and like, Emily. Okay. Anyway, so what you might want to consider too is like, can you offer some kind of like free content that on your social media pages, you could be pushing people to that. And then after the free content, there's the like, here's the ask. If you can contribute $10 a month, this is what you get. And oh, if you contribute $50 a month, this is what you get on top of that. And have it set up in a way that it's not, you don't want to make it a full-time job to be like making those pieces and trying to please everyone, but it might be possible to have, or like it could be maybe once a month you have like a webcast or something where one of the people that you talked about in your group that's always, you know, like different actors or the directors or whatever, that somebody, it could be like a question and answer where everybody gets to like ask questions behind the scenes, or maybe because it's, you're trying to get local people, you have like a meet and greet sort of a thing. I don't know. Those are just some ideas.
Those are really good ideas.
I'll let you know. And I'll stop talking.
No, you're fine. Emily, thank you. That is amazing.
Awesome. I've got Beth, then Becca, then Elaine for questions.
Thank you.
Am I on? Here?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Tabitha.
Hi.
Hey, so I know, you know, my son Sam, he does improv at the high school. We talked about that at Memorial High School. So I know you guys do some work with high school kids. I'm wondering if, just to learn a little bit more about what kind of collaborations you do with the high schools, because I always think that that's when students become involved, then parents become involved, and that's kind of a good way to do some kind of organic, you know, get your name out there organically just by working with students. Because I know that they, you know, the kids put on plays and they do have some classes that they do some original work. And that might be an opportunity to kind of get into the high schools and grow that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. We haven't really worked a lot with high school. I know Logan has directed a lot of like middle school plays for kids. I think in Spring Valley. She can correct me on that if she's still here. But I do think that that's an amazing idea, like getting those kids involved. We do hold, like, we don't discriminate in our auditions. Like, we kind of just say, like, as long as, like, you know, you're not a baby and you can get to more than likely we're going to be able to work with you.
Okay.
But I do think that would be great. We did collaborate before with the Backwards Thinker Society, which is the college improv team, and did a show with them. I am also pretty good friends with Amber Dernbach, so I think like maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, like maybe I really like that idea because that spurs like the idea of maybe getting the Memorial kids like doing a collab show with them.
Yeah. Because I know, like because my son is involved with a theater in Memorial too, and they talk a lot about and have these wishes of doing their own plays, and like they just had a series of one-act plays that they did, which I think, except for one of them, was all student created. So to help facilitate some of that interest might be kind of a cool thing too.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I think that like, especially in June, if we can like, you know, this whole thing calms down. We would love to like, if Sam wanted to, or even any of those kids, we were going to have just like a free-for-all sign up for doing the 24-hour project, which I think is an amazing way to showcase that talent. Yep. And like getting them more involved too.
And then one more thing is that I know Sam has looked into trying to go to like some camps during the summer, like a week-long camp to learn more about acting and improv. And Shell Lake has something, and then otherwise he would have to go to the cities. And I think Shell Lake only has directing, but that might be something too to offer as maybe a camp for high school kids to you know, week long, because that would be a way to generate income for you as well and get you more exposure.
That's an amazing idea. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Awesome. Becca, you are on.
Okay, so I had a question about your funding model and how your ticket sales go, and do you charge more since you pay your performers, and how do you rank in the market? Are you really expensive compared to other things? Like,
kind of walk me through that?
Sure, absolutely. So my gut reaction to that is LOL, no. So we do try to keep a balance of not only paying people, but also trying to keep a fair ticket price. So all of our improv shows that we do at the venue are $5. I know that that's not a lot, but if you pay more than $12 for an improv show, you're doing something wrong. That's just like a staple in the improv world. The other thing is that all of our show tickets are $15. We do for like, when we do rent the venue from like the Grand, we do a 50-50 split on our profit. So that's the thing. We also do only charge like maybe we never charge more than $15 because we never want to turn anybody away for not being able to have fun to like see this original work. We want to keep it at a fair price because we know how hard it can be to go to plays sometimes because things can get really, really expensive.
Right.
And trying to find that balance of compensating people, but also trying to keep a fair price is something that we've taken into account. So I think that is something that we could be better at, but I would love to like try to keep at that same like under 15 and under prices, just so that it's a little bit more fair and we are more open to more people coming.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Elaine, you're up.
I have a very whiny baby right now. I'm sorry. Tabitha, I think it's because you said that you wouldn't allow babies.
I think that's true.
I'm a little upset about that.
So rude, Axel.
The only thing I was going to say, Beth kind of touched on it, was just working with the youth, but then also maybe doing other like community workshops. Let's see, how old was I? 22. And I was like, I want to do theater. I didn't do it in high school because I was too scared. Now I have a little more confidence. So things like that, providing stuff like that for the community is just a way to give back and just get people involved, whether they want to be involved with set design, like learning how to do that and stuff like that. And then possibly thinking through maybe what a fundraiser looks like and just letting the community know, we compensate our actors and no one else does that. So people might be more willing to give if they know your story and your message like that. So that's all I gotta say. I'll unmute myself in case he starts screaming.
Well, thanks, Elaine. That's not only amazing advice, but tell Axel, learn to walk and then we'll talk.
All right, Kristen, you're up. Laura's on deck.
Okay, great. Thank you, Adam. And hi, Tabby.
Oh, hi.
Hello. So I guess it could be like a two-part question. So I'm wondering, because you were talking about with different media, kind of like getting feedback on that, but just kind of live as you have people at a show, like participating as audience members and have you guys done anything in terms of, I don't know, surveying or getting feedback in general, just in place when you've already got literally a captive audience, to try and figure out like, okay, what are things that they'd like to see? What are things that would keep them coming back? And then also integrating in some of the themes that have been coming up, like, how did you feel about this price? And kind of getting more specific feedback in that regard. Have you done anything like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually for our bigger theater productions, in our little pamphlets, like for like here's the cast, here's all that. I am blanking on the word right now. Brochures. There's a little
the playbill.
Yeah, a little playbill. There we go.
Yeah.
That's just basically like, what did you like about the show? What do you want to see? Do you want to participate? Do you want to be on our email list? Blah, 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 blah. Logan there.
Okay. And I guess, has there been participation in that? Like, how has been the participation and the feedback you've gotten from that? Has it actually been helpful to have those?
It's been a mix. We did get some participation, which has been really nice. That's actually how we found one of our actors, which was super rewarding. But it would be nice if we had a little bit more of like, hey, this is what I want to see, or more variety of answers rather than just like, I want to see this, or I want to act in this. I wanted like more people to be like, I want to direct this. I want to design this. I want to do this, that sort of thing. And
okay.
I just having more of like that, or I would love to like be part of this, or I would love to. So it's a mix. It's nice that like we were able to like find some people from it, but it would be really nice if we got more feedback from it than we did.
Okay. I guess in terms of that, and or even on through social media, if there's ways of running incentives to get people to, even if it's like, oh, if you participate on these dates, if it's digital, or if, you know, if we get feedback from you here in person, then maybe it puts them into a drawing for some sort of a prize or something like that, or just trying to get more people to talk back at you, so it's not just like you feel like you're speaking into the void or acting into the void.
Yeah.
That might be helpful to try and at least get a few more people to bite on that. And
That's
it also
a really good idea.
it also could be just the specific kinds of questions. Like if there's one, it could be different depending on the shows you're doing too. Like if there's one specific area you're working on, like to the point that Emily was making before about having that longer term plan. If you know that you've got like a shorter term goal in the interim and you're working on one specific area, you can make a very specific question regarding that as you're getting feedback and really focus on that. And then once you've built that up, you can switch the question out to something else you're working on. So that's kind of through time. And then I guess on the flip side then, because that's kind of very audience centric, the flip side then would be with getting the performers or directors or people who help with stage work and, you know, every other part of actually doing the production. Clearly, if you're working with somebody and they're on site with you, you end up getting a lot of interaction with them. But do you have mechanisms to get either feedback, new people who come in, kind of getting their thoughts there in terms of what would keep them coming back?
Yeah. So it's kind of super casual at that point because most of the people that are involved in a lot of the Speck of Dust stuff, like Logan and I are really good friends with.
Sure.
So they're not afraid to share their opinions with us, which is really nice. But I guess one in particular, we've had a recent new addition to our crew, basically. His name is Jack. And we didn't know him before he auditioned. He just saw and was like, I want to come. And he really wanted to be more involved in improv. And that was his main incentive. So that's why he did the show. And we were able to like really get to know him like on a personal level, and well, not, you know what I mean? Like just kind of be friends and be professional workers together and just be like, hey, what sort of like what kind of improv do you want to do? And like kind of introducing him, like getting him to come to the workshops that I do for collab, and like being, do you just want to be part of our team, and like opening that door for him. So I think that is really, really cool. And I think just like, I think being able to just have that, build that relationship of just like making them feel comfortable that, hey, it's okay to tell us like, you know, what you want to see and what you want to do.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like you might not have a huge amount of volume of new bodies, so to speak, coming onto the stage then, so you wouldn't be able to get that kind of huge feedback then. I almost wonder then, as you're talking through that, if it would be helpful then to talk to people, because there are, as we know, there are a lot of theater organizations throughout, and you've got tons of connections at a lot of these different theater organizations, and just asking people more specifically about what is it that draws them to one theater organization versus another, what are the pros and cons, and then seeing, you know, obviously you can't fill all of the voids or gaps or things that people want, but for just based on what they're gravitating towards already.
Yeah, that's a really great idea.
So
I love that.
So those are my questions. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're so great.
All right, we got Laura again.
I am back. Okay, so I work and do a lot of marketing and marketing strategy for my clients. So that's what I was thinking about when I jumped on your website and your Facebook. And as you're talking, I have a really decent understanding of your brand, I think. But I don't know if that's super clear on your social, and especially on your Facebook. So some of the things I was like writing down as you're talking is that this core piece of your business, from what I can tell, is that you're presenting unique and original work. And I think if you look at your Facebook, just at the top of it, that somewhere that should be in kind of your header photo, or in the description of who you are, along with some of your other like core values and what you bring relative to the other theater offerings in Eau Claire. So
Okay.
some of the other like terms I wrote down were like accessible and inclusive. So maybe you and Logan just kind of think about what those are and see how you can integrate those across your social platforms and your brand. So it's really clear, regardless of what somebody hops onto, whether you're recruiting people to perform or recruiting, audience members to come and see you, that they know what they're getting into and why they would want to support you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's really great. That's amazing.
So that's actually a good segue into one of the questions that Sheng has in the chat here. So he said, wondering more about your current social media marketing strategies aside from what you're already doing. For instance, comedy shorts to showcase the acting talents of specific individuals that can be easily shared to spread awareness, or video content to get to know the cast and your mission in summary.
So both of those are amazing ideas. We usually don't do video content unless we're doing a theater show, which can obviously change at this point. But we have made like commercials in the past for our theater productions to like be posted all over social media. I do think that's an amazing idea to get people to know like the cast of the show and like being able to like, I do think that's a great idea to even like make more like social medias on getting people to be more involved into it. Being able to like film like, hey, you should be a part of this. I'm a part of this, and these people are really cool, or all that good stuff. And I like working with them, and blah 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 blah. And this is why you should come join us. I do think that that's an amazing idea, Sheng, and I do think we do need to incorporate that more. And you're great.
And then I've also got Diane in the chat that said, this downtime is really good right now to work on our business plans and a 2021 events calendar. So kind of using this time to be proactive and thinking ahead into next season as far as like, do you want to put together a season? Do you want to start planning your events, and kind of getting a roadmap right now so that you've got a basis for what you want to do once we're all kind of out of the current status that we're all in.
Yeah, that I think is super, super great. And I think that she's 100% right. I think that is an amazing idea. I know I keep saying everybody has amazing ideas, but I legitimately mean it. Any feedback, any sort of thing, like all of this is super helpful, like a lot. Thank you guys so much.
All right, I've got Emily and Elaine, and then I think that will probably be about the time that we've got.
Okay, so the one other thing I was thinking is if you did some kind of like monthly, you could like repurpose content, right? So if you were gonna do videos, if you had like a I don't know, like a podcast kind of a conversation, or you had everybody show up together and had a conversation, you could record it and you could put pieces of that on your website or on social media. You could do just a very short, like 10 or 15 or 30-second clip for something else like that could have, so you would be, like you're using it for that one time or that in-person conversation, but then you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I guess that's what I mean. You can repurpose, recycle.
Yeah, that's great.
All right,
Elaine.
Same here. Was thinking podcast would be great, just because I don't know where you're putting the radio shows, but this obviously would be a really great time to connect that way and maybe start a podcast. It's easier these days than it was before. So
nice. Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, I think that does it for 1 Million Cups for today. Thank you again, Tabitha, for presenting. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place. And next week we have Hannah with Wholesome Endeavors presenting. So stay tuned in your emails for the Zoom links for that. Up at the top where I posted those kind of ground rules, if you aren't subscribed to the 1 Million Cups newsletter, you can do that with the link there so that you can keep receiving those links and making sure that you are connected with this community every week. So with that, I guess we'll sign off, and everybody have a great week.